Hi everyone, are you able to hear me now? This is just a test, but we will start the webinar at 9 p.m. Hi, everyone. I want to thank you all for coming. This webinar is being recorded and will be available for you to review at any time on the DCI Marketing Facebook page and YouTube account. So to participate in the group chat, you'll need to log on using your Gmail. So if you can do that right now, if you're on, just put your name, your student organization, and the position you hold. I'm going to just give a few minutes for some more people to come on, and then we'll get started. right, so we're going to get started. This is just the basics of Event Planning 101 for student organizations at St. Cloud State. So the first thing you need to do in event planning is find the logistics, such as creating a name of your event. So is it going to be something catchy with your student organization in it? Or is it going to be something that you get everyone's attention and really know what they're going to? And then you need to choose a date and a time. These things are going to be important, especially when you're looking at scheduling an event. What other events are going on campus that week? Is there a break? Is there a long weekend? Are people going to be going home? Those are things you need to account for when you're looking at planning an event and dates and times. So then you'll also need to choose a location. Is it going to be something that's on campus? Is it going to be in Atwood or in Centennial? Is it something you need an outdoor space like a 5K or a park cleanup? Do you need to talk to someone at the city council to get a park? Or there's a lot that goes into a location. So the second step is finding the goal of your event. What is the purpose? What does your organization want to do? Do they want to raise money for a cause, or are you looking to just really show your organization off and get more members? What is your goal of outreach? Do you want to have 15 new students come to an event that you're planning? Do you want community members to attend? Is this something that administrators are wanting to come to, or you want to invite advisors or professors to? That's something that you need to think about when you're just starting out the planning of your event. And finding your audience. So who does it appeal to? Is it going to be freshmen or residential hall students? Is it going to be seniors who are coming to your event? These are all things that go into creating an event. And that's something you can use in marketing and helping your outreach when you're planning these things. So the first logistical thing I'm going to talk about is reserving your space. If you're doing an event on campus, this is very important. You need to think about a few things when you're reserving a space. So I'm going to show you the process if you're getting a room like in Atwood or Hollenbeck, Centennial, any campus building. So all right. So you're going to log on to St. Cloud State's website and you're going to type in reservations. And that will bring you to the EMS system, which is the event reservation system. So once you get to this website, you'll go to log in with your STAR ID. Any student, faculty advisor on campus can do this. So I'm going to sign right in. All right. So then what you need to do is, let's say we're going to have a carnival in Atwood. So I'm going to go to Atwood Memorial Center and Ritchie Auditorium. All right, so I'm going to look at dates. On these little calendars, you can see there's blackout dates like finals week. Those are things you should think about. Or Good Friday could be a holiday weekend. There's no classes on April 7th. So these are things that you can see just by looking at these calendars when you're scheduling these events. Okay, so we're going to schedule an event for April 21st. We're going to say it's a Friday night at 7 p.m. There's going to be a carnival in Atwood, 10:40 to 10:45. When you're scheduling these, you have to think about setup and takedown time in these reservations. So if I have a start time of 8 p.m., then a good setup time would be 7 p.m. All right, so we're gonna say we're gonna have 100 students attend. We don't need any change. And then this is something that you will want to think about is, do you need technical services? Do you need a smart room? Do you need dot cameras? Things like that. So I'm going to find space. So that night there's a lot going on, like the excellence in leadership. So when you're looking at this, you can see, okay, these may go with my event. They may help it, or okay, well, there's a lot going on that night. Maybe we should try and schedule it for a different time. But this night looks good. So we're going to do a carnival in the theater lounge. So people coming out of the UPB films might be able to attend it. So I'm going to type in okay, so this is where you're going to need a student organization. And it's important that you are able to find one. I'm going to find the Department of Campus Involvement. Okay. So then I can click that. All right. So my supervisor is Sammy Bosacki, so I'm going to click her as the main contact. That way, if there's any problems with the reservation, they are able to contact her. So as a student organization, it might be helpful to have your advisor on board when you're planning these events. Okay, so if you're having an event in Atwood, we're going to talk about this a little later, but you're going to need to do catering through Chartwells. So yes, we will have catering. Yes, it will be for off campus, and this is not a fundraiser. We will need microphones. Okay, so what this is saying is that it's not set in stone. This is something that I'm requesting, but that doesn't mean that I will have this room. So that's something to keep in mind. You need to confirm with the Atwood office when you're making reservations. All right, so that's how you make a reservation. And I said this at the beginning, but if you have any questions or are wanting to participate a little more, you can for sure log in with a Gmail, and then you'll be able to add comments to the video and ask questions. All right, so this is another thing that you can do, is that registered student organizations are able to reserve a kiosk or table. That's when everyone's handing out flyers and really marketing their events. You're limited to 5 future dates. So today, if I scheduled 5 days in the next 2 weeks, I'd have to wait for one of those days to come up before I could schedule another time. And you have to make sure that you're checking in with the Atwood office and utilizing that time that you reserve for, because otherwise your student organization can be charged. All right. So the next step in event planning is looking at your budget. So most organizations have a 900 and a 300 account. So you're going to want to look at what you can spend from each of those, and look at your overall budget and account balance to see how much can we put towards this event and still have enough money to do other events that we're planning during the semester. You're going to have to figure out how much the event is going to cost and allocate those funds. So depending on how your student organization does that, sometimes you vote on allocating those funds. Other times the executive board just talks about it. But however your student organization does it, you need to make sure that you have those funds before you start spending them. And then make sure that you're staying within that budget. Some events are great ideas, but you have to look at if what you're spending is going to be more than what you're making, if you're doing a fundraiser or things like that. So the most important thing when event planning is marketing. So I'm sure you have seen posters and flyers all around campus for student organizations. But then there's also social media posts. We're going to be doing a webinar just on social media next week, April 4th at 9 p.m. as well. So you can come to that, and we'll talk about utilizing different social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to really market your events and get it spread across campus and get new students involved. There's also digital screens around campus that you can utilize. What you need to do is talk to the Department of Campus Involvement in order to put those flyers on the screens. You have to do them in a specific format, and that's in a PowerPoint screen. There's also sidewalk chalking that you can get approved by Student Life. So if you look at the website at St. Cloud State, you can type in sidewalk chalking and it'll bring you right to the Student Life office. And there's a form you can fill out and email, and you have to do that at least a week in advance if you want to chalk for an event. There's also tabling, like we talked about. You can go into your classes and have members of your organization talking to people and spreading it by word of mouth, putting it on chalkboards in different buildings, or sending invitations to specific audiences. Some other organizations may be interested in your event, professors. If you want deans or administrators to come, those need to be done further in advance. And so just like really market. It's so important, because you can have a great event, but if people don't know about it, you're not going to succeed. All right, so if you're in Atwood, you need to know how to order food. Chartwells does student catering, and now we're gonna click right here. So if you go to the St. Cloud website and type in student catering, it will bring you right here. So this has special pricing for student organizations, and student groups need to pick it up, and they don't have to pay delivery charges or pay for waiting staff and stuff such as that. So you can see there's a definite price difference when doing that. So you can get different things like pizza or hors d'oeuvres, desserts, lunch boxes. But it's really important that in Atwood, you could get fined if you bring in outside food. So it's important to just go through Chartwell's, and you won't have to worry about the hassle of dealing with that afterwards. And there's also funds for food for student organizations. You can request that through the Department of Campus Involvement website. So every semester they have an allocated fund that Chartwell's gives, and student organization can request up to $500 for that food. You just have to have it open up to all campus. So you can't just say, okay, well, my student organization wants to eat pizza while we have our meeting. It has to be open to other students at St. Cloud State. So there's a form that you can fill out, and then it goes through a review committee. And then there's also the Viking Coke initiative. So on campus, all you can get is Coke products, and you can see that in the convenience store in Atwood and at all the restaurants. But when you're bringing in pop, that's something you need to think about as well. So Viking Coke offers money and grants. So they will just, for certain events, if you apply, they will allocate you so much pop or water or different products that you can use for those events. You just have to talk to them and put in a form that has the different description of your event, what you're doing, who it's going to affect, and it's a really great initiative that Viking Coke has done on our campus. All right, so the next step in event planning is confirming details. So you need to make sure that as you're planning the event, you're directing other students in your organization and having the plan set. So you have volunteers and duties of what each person is going to do, making sure that reservations have been made and supplies have been purchased. And if you're having performers, presenters, or different community organizations come in, it's your responsibility to have them have someone meet them, make sure that they understand the directions to get here, where to park, when they need to be here, and any last minute needs that they would need. So then on the day of the event, you should be arriving early, making sure all setup is correct. If not, you can talk to the general maintenance workers and have it changed around. Make sure you're greeting volunteers and letting them know, again, what their duties are, and make sure that if there's technology needed for your event, that it's set up correctly, you have the microphones, that the PowerPoints or videos, music is all working. That's a lot of what organizations have trouble with when doing events, is making sure that technology is correct. So then once attendees are coming, don't just expect that they know what they're doing. Make sure you're greeting them and helping them around and really telling them what your event is about. And then you should be enjoying the event as well. It's important that you as a student organization member are able to get the full experience of the event as well. So planning for a post-event is important. A lot of student organizations get set up an event, but they don't have volunteers to help clean up or go through and record the head count or do an evaluation afterwards. So at your next meeting, have an evaluation form that all general body members and exec board members can complete, and then talk about it, discuss it, see what worked, what didn't, and what you can change for your next event, and then document that, because a lot of times student organizations don't transition well. They don't know what the past years have done. They don't know how events went, what worked, what didn't. So this is your way of making sure that the student organization is successful after you leave. You can also have attendees do surveys, which it really helps to know if the event succeeded in the goals you had. And then writing thank you notes. It's important to write thank you notes to anyone who helped, even Atwood Reservations or the community partners that came in, the different students who really stepped up and helped your event. They're not just for people who are outside your organization. They can also be for within your organization. And so those should be written within a week and sent out, because it's important to stay on top of that. Otherwise, you won't be able to thank that person, and they might not want to do it the next time. All right. So I'm going to see if there are any questions. And then there's also 3 webinars coming up that I'm going to tell you all about. Okay, so make sure that if you're not going to have an event, that you go in and cancel your reservation. All right. So if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to put it right up there. Okay, so I don't see any questions yet, but I just wanted to share with you the next few upcoming webinars. Next Wednesday, or tomorrow, March 29th, there's going to be a collegiate link training at 9 p.m. You can RSVP to any of these on the Collegiate Link site or at the Department of Campus Involvement. You can also check out our officer transition webinar at 7 p.m. next Monday, April 3rd, and then social media marketing webinar at 9 p.m. on Tuesday, April 4th. So I want to thank you all for coming and viewing this webinar. It was great to give this information, and hopefully it will help you plan some future events. Thanks.